I don't know what you were doing in the background. That's what you say. When I'm going to check the footage, This is a conversation with Shereen Ahmed. She's a journalist, presenter, and the reigning defending Miss Universe Bahrain. She's also the founder of Hope ML Bahrain. In this conversation, we discuss every single thing you need to know to take part and win a Miss Universe pageant: the Pasarela training, the walk, the mental strategies, the fitness, the diet, routines that help you calm your nerves, and the inside experience of taking part in a pageant.
If you like this episode of No Time Podcast, make sure to hit the like and the subscribe button on YouTube and listen to it on all the streaming platforms. Don't forget to also rate it a 5-star. And of course, to keep interesting, engaging conversations with different people from different crosses of life, you can do this by supporting Shalaj and supporting through Patreon and whatever else he told me to say. And to that, I leave you with a thank you. Don't forget to, again, like, comment, share it with your friends. Go follow them on their Instagram account, maybe on LinkedIn even. Add to that my personal Instagram account. And now you're watching No Time. Let's start the show.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
In our previous conversation, we began every segment with a verse from a poem. So I want to keep that spirit alive. And I want to start the second chapter with a verse from a poem by the blonde thief, Shereen Ahmed. No, I'm joking. But I've got a verse from a poem called The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost.
Okay.
And it goes, I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood. And I took the one less traveled by. And
That has made all the difference.
when you won Miss Universe, you started your post with a sigh. And you said, this journey has been about breaking free from limiting beliefs, stepping out of my comfort zone, and letting my inner strength shine through. It's been a challenging path, financial stress, job loss, and countless setbacks. But every struggle led me to this moment. So I want to start with some reflection. What's changed between Shereen, who came on this show in 21, and Shereen, who's here today? What road have you traveled on? What difference has it made? What's changed?
So much has changed. Not only, we were talking about it before we started, not only is it the confidence. I believe there was a certain confidence that got me by, but it was more a portrayal of confidence, whereas now it is more of an inner confidence that regardless of what others say, or if you're doing something that doesn't really align with what society expects of you, whatever industry you're in expects of you, it doesn't matter as long as you're kind of okay with yourself at the end of the day and you know 100% who you are and what you're willing to do and what you're willing not to do in terms of what it is you want to achieve. So for me, I would say it's just really finding my voice finally. The confidence, finding my voice, and being able to apply all of that into everything that I've always wanted to do.
How much of that is time? How much of that is just age? And how much of that has been influenced by you taking part?
Everything. I mean, I want to say 100%. Time, 100%. Growth, and with growth, more experience, 100% more disappointments after 2019, right? It was 2019.
2021.
2021, was it? Oh my God, yeah. Plus 5 years. A lot of disappointments from there, a lot of rising up again from those disappointments, and a lot of putting myself in challenges, right? Because you get so used to a comfort zone after a while, and you should be able to rest in comfort zones after maybe being on a survival mode, which I feel like right after when we first spoke, I was just coming into that. Like I was just coming out of, survival mode. And now I feel like I really got to breathe. And after the breathing, I was like, right, what's next? Let's challenge ourselves even more. And I just went full force. You know, I thought, actually, it's never going to change if I don't take this step now. And that started with, I think what kickstarted all of that was really starting the podcast with my best friend, Heidi, because she was going through the same thing. And we often discuss it for hours on end over matcha, actually. And so we thought, screw it. We'll edit it on our own. We'll record it wherever. We'll get the cheap mics. But the point is, we just wanted to do it and not have fear about how we were going to be received. Because I feel like after that, after you overcome that fear, it will just keep rolling from there. And that's what happened. That's what eventually led me to joining the pageant in 2022, placing second runner-up, being okay with that, moving on, and continuing with media. And again, going through darkness, going through light, and finding my way again, not knowing that there was an opportunity where I was going to get to join again. And I took that opportunity and worked hard for a whole year before even joining Miss Universe Bahrain, mentally getting myself out of the place where I thought, do I deserve this? Do I not? Do I have what it takes this time? Where was I lacking the last time? What do I want to do with this? Is this for acceptance? Is this to make up for something that is lacking in my life? Because, right, that had been the trajectory that I was always on. Is that, oh yeah, you lack this parental figure, therefore you're going to make up for it by overachieving in whatever ways you can, in the ways you know how, to maybe feel the acceptance and the validation from the rest of the world. And I felt like I never really acknowledged that, but I think that was the trajectory that I was on. Until this time, I was like, no, I want to do this time for me, because I experienced the comfort for a while. I allowed myself in that stage. And in that, I realized that, no, as much as in the past, maybe it was for that, I have forgiven where I needed to forgive. I have accepted where I need to accept. And now I've really just made peace with the fact that I like achieving things. You know, I like challenging myself. I like putting myself in uncomfortable spaces, because I don't feel alive when I'm just, what's the word? Stagnant? Is that the word? I don't think it's the right word to use, but I can't chill, for lack of a better word. I can't. I try it. I can do it maybe for a few months, but then I have to be on to the next thing. It's just what keeps my soul alive. And I'm happy that it led me to be able to represent my country and to do more, and to finally be able to take that and materialize my life's purpose into something, which is Hope Amal Bahrain. That was a lot.
We're going to touch upon all of these topics in detail as we continue. Uplifting to hear that you started from a podcast with your bestie, and that led to Miss Universe. So there's hope for the rest of us. Okay. Quick status check. When you were young, you wrote down your wishes on a piece of paper and you buried it under the tree of life. Have they come true yet?
Yes.
They have come true.
Yes.
So it works.
Yes.
All the kids
Tree
in
of
Bahrain
life.
who are listening right now, head to the tree of life.
Just don't tell everybody about it, maybe. You know, keep those wishes to yourself.
Yeah, it's too late. It's millions of people,
oops.
millions of kids in Bahrain already listen to this. I actually read that scientists had dug up the soil around the tree of life to study it and see why it's sustaining. And imagine they just maybe came up with your piece of paper. Maybe that's why the tree of life is sustaining on these wishes. Anyway.
It's actually, it is truly I that gave it back its life. It is why it keeps on thriving in the desert. I'm sorry, Bahrain.
The mystery has been solved. Why does the tree of life sustain in the desert? It's your piece
It's me.
It's wishes.
It is Miss Universe Bahrain herself. I'm so sorry.
It's like the opposite of Monsters Inc., right? You know, like sustains on kids' wishes. Okay, let's get to work.
Okay.
This is what I want to cover in the second chapter. I want to dissect every single thing I need to know to take part and win Miss Universe. Typically, I position these conversations as a thought experiment where I am an aspiring candidate, I'm getting an expert on the show, and I'm going to like pick their brains. But unfortunately,
You're my mentee.
I don't think I can be a mentee for Miss Universe. I don't think I qualify. I know they're getting lenient with the rules, but I don't think they're going to get that lenient yet.
Exactly. You never give it a few years.
You know what? I'll be waiting very soon. But for now, let's assume I've been hired by aspiring candidates, and they've asked me to ask you all the questions they've always wanted to ask.
Okay.
Break the mystery behind what it takes to win a pageant. I've got a bona fide veteran, a bona fide queen here. So by the end of this conversation, I want to create the ultimate one-stop shop, the ultimate guide.
Amazing. Amazing.
Okay, you seem like you're on board.
I am on board.
Awesome. Let's do it.
Okay.
First step, before I even apply for my local pageant or my national pageant, what do I need to do to create a portfolio or learn a set of skills so that when I finally apply, there's a high chance I'm going to make it to the first stage? What's going to be my starting point from which I realistically can make it to the audition?
First is your mindset. I will say this over and over again to anybody. Mindset, by mindset, I mean, are you ready? Are you ready to receive opinions by others? Are you ready to overcome that? Because that's there. You're literally going to be judged for your appearance, still a beauty pageant at the end of the day. You're going to be judged for how you speak, how you carry yourself, what your values are. And sometimes some people will even dig into your past. So are you ready for that? B, do you know yourself enough? Have you done the introspection? Do you know where you want to go at least? You don't have to, we will go through life not really fully knowing ourselves, of course. We will always get to know a new version of ourselves over and over. But you in that moment, right before joining, who are you then? Why do you want to do this? What do you want to do with it? Is it just for self-service? Because that can't get you through. It's going to be an intense, high-pressure environment, one that you've never experienced in your life. And I'm sure not a lot of people experience that, right? Only a select few. And so nobody will really understand it other than you and the other girls you're with. Are you ready for that? What will carry you through? What is the deeper reason? What are you trying to prove to yourself, to others? How do you want to bring forth change with this? I think with everything in your life, whether it be pageantry or any industry that you're in, writing or with your podcast, there's a purpose. For you, I imagine, it's to educate, right? It's to inspire. It's to also for you to get to know the people, cool people from different industries and learn. So what is that for that person? Mindset, and then really it's your social media presence. That's one. Archive what needs to be archived. If you're, for example, looking to represent a Muslim country, of course, out of respect for that country, no matter how liberal you may be in your own life, you have to look into what would the organization want? Would they want somebody that posts in how to say, in super revealing clothing, for example, or carries themselves in a way that might not align with that country? It's just being logical, as well as, yes, you can push the boundaries a little bit. That's totally okay. But you have to assess where, and you have to assess if people are ready for that. And you have to also assess that this is no longer just about representing yourself. You're looking to represent your country. So you have to include everybody in that country and what the majority feels comfortable with at that time, at least. So social media presence, your branding, archive what needs to be archived, knowing yourself, knowing your mentality, knowing what you're capable of, knowing the gravity of a competition in general, that it will push you, and knowing that you will have to give 100%, because then you'll be left with regrets if you didn't give it your all, and really understanding pageantry through and through. I think researching pageantry, its history, what it started off as, what it has become now, understand the type of pageant you're joining. There's Miss Universe, which looks for women who can speak, women who have strong advocacies, women who could walk well, but they're more on the elegant and a little bit more reserved side when they do their performances. There's Miss Grand, which, as per the name, looks for grand women, grandeur, be extra. This is the time when you can have fun and do the most with your outfits, do the most with every single thing. Just be you times 100 is really Miss Grand. And then there's Miss World that looks for, I think their focus is mainly speakers, but then there's also an age limit. So
Miss Earth, Miss International.
Miss Earth, Miss International, they all have their own specific things that they're looking for. I think Miss International is more for the cutesy, what's the word to explain them? I mean, generally what they look for is the sweet, I think it's more like on the age as well. I'm not really sure. I'm not that familiar with Miss International. All I know is the general type of women they go for is, again, yes, speakers, yes, they care, but there's a certain look that goes with that, which is it's not too extravagant, it's not too mature, if that makes sense, but it's more like cutesy. I don't know. I think I would just say cutesy.
Because from the outside, they all look very similar. Like
they all look similar.
They still
right?
like evaluate you on similar skills, right?
For sure. But I think with all the judges that they get, they also are given an understanding of, listen, this is what we are looking for. There has been a basis. So with Miss Grand, that's very obvious. That's very in your face, that if you were to just walk like you would in Miss Universe, I don't think it would capture as much attention as it would if you were in Miss Universe.
So you have different walks for each?
You have different walks. Grand is like, be extra. Flip your hair 100 times, do a twirl, do 100 twirls. It's fine. If you do that in Miss Universe, it'll be like, it's a bit much, dude. Calm down. We just want to see you and how graceful you can perform, how gracefully you can perform, right? How can you take our breaths away with your performance? How can you command a stage? It's about stage presence. You know, it's about, we want to feel your confidence radiate. How is it? Do you feel it in yourself? Because people, judges can tell. The audience can tell. We can tell. If we're talking to somebody and you feel like there's a little bit of a doubt, you can tell. So it's all about either A, how you can fake that, or B, how you can really immerse yourself in it 100% to exude that on stage.
Great pointers. I think we have set the baseline,
Yes.
the starting point. Let's assume I have applied to my national pageant. I've made it to the first stage. I made it to the
Congrats.
audition. Oh, thank you so much. Wasn't surprised at all. So what is the audition process like? How do I nail my audition?
Audition process varies from, again, pageant to pageant. You have small scale competitions. Miss Universe Bahrain is still starting out, for example. It's in its 4th year. I'm the 4th queen. And so it differs. I think they did online applications for us with general questions, general, asking for your Polaroids, why you want to join, all of that jazz. But for others, I know in the Philippines, for example, if we're going to go the complete extreme example, you have to, again, register online. I imagine there would be thousands of women joining in the Philippines. It's such a big thing there. And they'll scale you down and you will begin the process. It's with them, I think 3 months before the actual show, you're already doing things for sponsors, you're doing photo shoots, you're doing video shoots, you're working on your social media presence, you're doing interviews to show people who you are, what you can do, and kind of creating a hype that leads up to the pageant itself. Because another big thing in pageantry now is really standing out amongst the crowd. It's social media. Everybody's doing it now. So how do you stand out on social media? What are you wearing? What are you doing? How are you working towards your advocacy? People are also watching if you're just yapping about having an advocacy or if you created it out of nowhere when there's a disconnect. Was it chosen for you? Did you choose it? Do you have a connection to it? Where was I? What was the question? So you're asking me the audition process. Okay. So then, you just go accordingly. You prepare yourself. Again, at this point, I would hope that you would have done the research on the pageant. You have done the research on the past queens. Not so you can emulate or copy what they've done, but so you could see what you can do that could even be better. Because, right, you're always going to look for the next best queen or the queen that could align with whatever the wider organization is looking for that year, which changes on a year-to-year basis with Miss Universe. And that requires you really watching each and every show in the last 3 to 5 years, just so you get a good understanding, a good gauge. And then watching what people are doing on social media. And then also having, Also, I would hope that at this point you've done your Pasarela classes. Maybe at this scale, you could do it online first and then practice on your own in the gym or whatever, and practice your posture and how you carry yourself and how you sit and all of that. In essence, it's also like, I don't know if you remember Madeline. No, that's not actually the best example. It's kind of like going to charm school, if you will.
Okay.
Right? If you don't already carry yourself a certain way, then you have to kind of learn how to do that, because that matters. Your presence when you walk into a room matters. You know, do we feel you? Do we feel your strength? Do we feel that you already carry yourself like a queen? Do you feel like you can be a queen? So working on that confidence, working on your core beliefs. By working on it, I mean really understanding, having a chat with yourself or practicing with a friend of yours, or ideally with a Q&A trainer or a personality development coach on why you want to do this. Why do I want to be the next Miss Universe India or Bahrain or Philippines? For me personally, what will it do? And for the good of others, what do I want to do with it? Do I want to inspire younger girls? Do I want to inspire future Bahrainis that they can take this path if they wanted? Or that this is just one path out of many that you could put yourself into to follow your dreams? It is a step in another direction, not the goal. What is it? What do you want to make? Because it is still a platform that you can make use of. You either make use of it with your advocacy or to progress your career or both. What is it? And be really honest with yourself, because if you're just saying, I want to do it for just my advocacy, when there are other motives, at some point people will see that throughout the competition anyway, because you're not just being judged on your on-stage performance. You're not just being judged on the closed-door interview with the judges. People are watching.
All the time.
All the time. The staff, even in Miss Universe, they told us from the moment you step into the airport in Mexico, you're already...
The competition's begun.
The competition has begun. Okay. What did you arrive in? How did you talk to the people? How did you carry yourself? How are you with the girls behind the scenes? How are you with the chaperones? How are you with the staff? Right? Because people can fake it. People can... I've seen a lot of it in pageantry where they can portray themselves a certain way, and then, you know, the truth will still shine behind the scenes. And so you may wonder, why didn't I win? How were you behind the scenes? Question that, because nobody's crazy. No, we're not stupid. People deliberate, people talk.
Let's dive into all these aspects even more. Let's zoom right in. But I'm going to up the difficulty. So far we were talking about taking part in a national pageant. Let's say I've auditioned, I've won, I've become Miss Universe of Al-Quds. And now I'm preparing for Miss Universe, the global competition. So we're increasing the difficulty. But I want to continue dissecting all these skills now. But now we're talking at an international level, right? So you mentioned the Pasarela. Let's start with that. Mm-hmm. Dumb question. What is this walk? What is so different about it?
What is so different about it is that when we're walking normally, we're a little bit more chill. So like without Pasarela training, I'd probably sit here like this talking to you. With it, it's just it's helped make my posture a little bit more, I don't know, it makes you more aware of yourself and how you hold yourself. Second thing is the heels. When you walk, typically in Pasarela heels, you're wearing 5-6 inch heels. And so it's really about learning to balance everything, right? It's learning how to use your core, engage your core. Otherwise, your back will pay for it. I can attest to that. It's learning how to sway your hips. We don't naturally sway our hips. And even if we did, it would kind of hurt. So that's where working out and practicing the Pasarela leading up to the competition really matters, because you want to loosen up your body so that it gets used to naturally swaying, so that eventually you're not forcefully swaying. It just will come naturally. I can't not Pasarela walk now in my day-to-day life. I could tell you that. Even my best friend Heidi, she would be with me in the training sessions, and we'd watch all the YouTube videos, and her walk has changed. And people recognize it. So see, it's not even just something you could carry in the pageant, but it'll help you later on to be perceived or to be looked at like, oh, wow, nice walk, nice posture. It just, I don't know. I just feel like it adds to your confidence even more, and it adds to the way you present yourself. So it's really the heels, it's the posture, it's the breathing through that, and it's trying to find how you can make all of that still look natural with your own personality. How can you let your personality shine? Are you more of a smiley girl when you're walking, or are you more fierce? How can you play with your emotions?
What worked for you?
I don't like smiling that much, which is sad, because I used to be a smiley girl in high school. People would always say she always smiles. at some point in life, that smile stopped. Maybe it was
That
the
emo
fear of
goth phase.
wrinkles. I'm not sure.
Tokyo Hotel.
I think I saw something on YouTube when I was a young girl, like, oh my God, the more you don't show expression, like you will maintain your like wrinkle-free face. And that stuck with me ever since or something. It's not a good thing. But if, I'm more fierce, but then I had to also learn to smile. If you look back at my performances, I actually was smiling. And that was something that I had to work on. And that was also just the joy of the moment. I was walking out there, just turned 30 on that very stage, which was exactly what I was manifesting before even knowing I could join Miss Universe Bahrain, before even knowing that they had increased the age limit, before even knowing it could exist, that I could take part. When I was just envisioning, oh, what would it be like imagine if I could join again. Oh, wow, by that time, it would be November. If I were to win, it would be November. Wow, imagine like if I was walking and it was my birthday and the hosts were announcing that it was my birthday. Word for word happened.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Back
not
to
to
the
make
walk.
it about me. So back to the walk. Pasarela, train, find a trainer. Online, but in person is very, very important. I had to find somebody in person, and you still have to train every time. Wear your heels while you're washing your dishes. Wear your heels while you're walking around your apartment. Wear it everywhere. Get really used to it, because that's what you're going to be doing anyway in the pageant. We're always in 5-6-inch heels every time we would walk out of that lobby to go to whatever activities we had, to go to whatever events we had. And eventually, you want to be comfortable enough that you don't have this fear of what if I trip and fall on the stage, right? So that's for the Pasarela aspect.
There are two schools of thought on the walk. There's at least a contingent of people who say it's so difficult, it requires so much training. And like you mentioned, people don't normally walk like that every single day. It also might, if you do it wrong as well, in particular, it might put a lot of unnatural strain on your body, on your back, on your knees and joints. And there's a case to be made for what is it proving? Because to me, everything you are, incredibly intelligent, warm, funny, beautiful, you're going to stay that person even if you can't do this walk in 6-inch heels. So there's an argument to be made whether it's an arbitrary set of rules, not sure what's proving, but there's obviously a set of benefits as well, like you spoke about, confidence, posture, maybe physical and mental benefits. How do you balance the two? Do you feel the Pasarela needs to stay in these pageants?
For me, yes.
Okay.
Although I would take it as a case-by-case basis. There may have been women who already kind of carry themselves in a way that's... Because see, it's not about appealing to... You're not doing it to appeal to the... No, actually you are. If you are competing, then you're definitely trying to, be... I guess get the approval of, wow, her walk. But at the end of the day, again, you have to understand where you are, right? You are in a beauty pageant. And no matter how much has changed, it is what it still is, whether fortunately or unfortunately. And I believe performance is a very big factor in pageantry. The people that love pageantry, like I love pageantry right before I joined Miss Universe Bahrain. I got a little bit hooked onto it. I would watch everything. And the reason that I liked it was because it was like watching somebody sing or dance. I saw it as a performance. Like, wow, how can this girl transform from who she is and who she can be on stage? So there's that. So it's really, if you feel you don't need that, and if you feel you're confident enough anyway to carry yourself however you want, and you don't feel you want to adhere to the rules, go for it. Because, right, it all depends on your personal goals. It all depends on what you want out of the pageant. Do you want to just stand out from the crowd? Maybe that's why you joined. Do you want to just show that me with my body type and I'm a size 18 or something can walk even without Pasarela training just on my own, because I'm trying to show the little girls that they don't need to comply with this and that? What is it? That's why it always goes back to what is your purpose for this? For most girls that take it to another level and train and do everything that they can is because they want to win. Because winning guarantees you more success in maybe your career. Maybe it helps you level up. For some girls with different backgrounds, it'll help them get out of poverty. It'll help them be able to pay for their college. Maybe it'll help them be able to garner more attention for their charities, be celebrities. or to really, really take their country's representation on another level, right? I did Pasarela because Bahrain has never won anything. Bahrain has never placed. And how nice would it be if we had that, at least in this platform? I'm not discrediting any other spaces where Bahrain has already made waves, like in the music industry with Majid Jordan and so many other examples. However, why not make this yet another platform where we could show Bahraini excellence? And what is the way in which you will show excellence? If you're in the music industry, you will work on harmonizing, making sure you've got the right tone, making sure you know the kind of music that people are actually leaning more towards in this moment. It's the same thing in a pageant. It's just a different thing, which is why it gets that bad rap. Which is why it has the misconceptions. But it's like any other industry. It's like acting. You're performing,
I agree with the performance aspect. Something about Catriona Gray's Lava Walk, I think it's up there.
It's beautiful. And she's such a lovely woman, lovely person. And she had scoliosis.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Keep a note of that. So, with scoliosis, it's hard to maintain that posture for a long time. That woman trained for months to years before even being able to do that. That's not something I could replicate now off the bat. I would really have to work on how to balance myself to do that slow motion walk. So that shows you even the artistry that goes behind that, because it wasn't just her that created that. It was her and a dance choreographer, a Filipino dance choreographer. So it's really also, as much as it is about you and how you carry yourself, it's also about the teams behind you, all the creatives working hand in hand to ensure that this is the package that we're showcasing. This is the Philippines that we're showcasing. This is the Bahrain that we're showcasing. And I think, I don't know, I find there's beauty in that kind of teamwork and being able to present something beautiful.
Yeah, no, I definitely think it's art or performance of the highest kind. Her Lava Walk is definitely up there. While we're talking about things that should stay, should not stay in beauty pageants, I believe last year, at least 8 to 10 people wore bikinis. Mm-hmm. Is that going to change over time? Do you think the Bikini Round is an outdated relic from pageants from the past when they stood for something completely different? Or do you think the Bikini Round also has a place in pageants?
For me personally, I don't think, if you were to ask me, I'm not comfortable to wear a bikini, right? As much as maybe 2% of me did not wear a bikini on stage, because obviously it's not what the wider general public of Bahrain would do. And I'm trying to represent the modest and feminine aspects of Bahraini beauty without overshowing skin. I'm also uncomfortable doing it. I just don't see a point of it, which is why I was glad to be able to partake now in a pageant where I didn't necessarily have to wear a bikini. I'm glad that now there is a space where even the women from other countries, non-Muslim, had the option to wear a burkini because they weren't comfortable showing their skin. I'm just not comfortable doing it. I don't think it matters, yeah. I think I would keep the pasarela aspect. I would keep the evening gown. It's the best part. It's when you really see a woman shine in the best gown, and you see how she carries herself with that. It's like a very romantic moment almost. And then how she carries herself in Q&A will show you what she thinks of the world, what she thinks of herself, and how she speaks, which is very important. But no, bikini for me, if it could be taken out, would be fine. I could replace it with maybe athleisure wear. I don't know. Which I think some pageants have done. Like I know for Miss Universe Bahrain, the national, we had athleisure wear before we even had the Bikini Round.
Okay, so Pasarela stays, Bikini Round can go.
So it's okay. It doesn't make me or break me personally. But I also appreciate the fact, and I know that some women also want the choice of wearing the bikini. They also feel a different type of confidence in that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So that's why I like the fact that there is an option now for a bikini, because that all women can do what they want. Now, when you're being judged based on that, that's a whole other separate question, because there's still the the debate of, does it take away from your points if you're not actually in a bikini?
Does it?
I don't think so. I think it's all about confidence. And it's all about what that organization is looking for that year. Some could argue maybe, but then again, I wouldn't know, right? I'm not the one in the judges' seats. I'm not the one that's a part of the head of directors in the larger scale of these pageants. So I'm not really sure what is for show and what is really the thing. But from what I gather, I would love to believe, at least, that it's that it doesn't matter, that it doesn't count. Because I think it would even show, right? If I saw a woman come out in a bikini and she, for example, did the lava walk, the slow-mo walk, and maybe nobody had ever done that before, I mean, I would be impressed. I don't think you could take away a woman's shine depending on what she's wearing. I don't think anybody could argue that.
Interesting. I would love to see the judges'
Judges'
metrics. Your opinion on beauty pageants has changed over time. You said in a previous interview, in the beginning, I too had the same sentiment about beauty pageants. But I think, especially with the new era of pageantry, we are moving towards a more inclusive side. It's more focused on advocacy, your voice, how you use your voice and things that matter to you. It's about you as a person rather than what you look like. For me, it was a great tool to grow in areas I needed, especially confidence. Mm-hmm. So let's dive deeper into this. What was your original stance on beauty pageants? What were they like before? What's your stance on them now? What do you think they are like now? How have they changed over time?
My stance was, I think, much like the general stances on people who don't understand pageantry or haven't dived deep into it, which is why are we still obviously judging women based on how they look and all of that jazz, until I deep dived into what it really was. And then I heard about, firstly, the removal of the age limit, which now allowed me to partake, and then the focus of the advocacies and really garnering in great speakers. And that spoke to me because I love yapping, obviously. And I'm like, oh my God, another platform where I can yap?
Why not?
Let me research this. Let me dig a little deeper. What is this all about? And I, of course, come from a background, my half Filipino side, where pageantry is much revered. And then the other half of me is like, meh, it's okay. You know what I mean? What is that? Like, we don't understand it that much to make an opinion about it. And so there was always that aspect of me that while I didn't believe in it that much, I was also enamored by it. And I also saw the strong candidates Philippines sent over to that one in the span of, 2015, Pia Works back, and then 2018, Catriona Gray. And what I saw was that, yes, they were beautiful. Yes, they had iconic walks and performances, and things happened in their years that were, hard to forget. But I also remember their words, and I also remember the way that they made me feel because of how they were able to present their words. And I just thought, okay, maybe it's that. Maybe it's that impact. It's that impact on me when I watched it. It's not for everybody, but for somebody like me, I was like, wow, like I wonder what it would take to be able to carry myself that way and really feel in my soul like how confident I am, and how I want to know that I know my words. I want to know that I believe in my words as much as I'm saying them. So, and I want to know that it's impacting somebody to take a stand for themselves in whatever way that means. It doesn't have to mean they'll join a pageant as well, but whatever you can take from that. I have had women now come to me, mothers, saying, thank you for using your platform and giving us a voice. It's not, it's people say, yeah, there's a lot of single moms here and there, but not enough to create a platform for it or keep talking about us and championing for us as if you're a mother yourself. Or people often mistake me for being a single mom myself because of like how passionate I am about it. But then they find out that it's just my background with my mom. And so it's those little things, right? I forgot what the question was. I think I just rambled, to be honest.
It was about how beauty pageants have evolved over time. But It makes sense. You've claimed beauty pageants, not just you. Everyone has claimed beauty pageants and made it stand for women, have made it stand for something much stronger than what the original purpose of beauty pageants might have been maybe 40, 50 years
Because
ago.
What was it before? It was just for the physical aspect, right? Back in the day. Purely. It was literally who's the cutest and who can answer a question. And then it was also for them to gain like a scholarship, I believe. I mean, I'm not too well versed on the full history. I could be wrong.
Let's bring it back to the checklist. Let's talk about fitness. What type of workout should I focus on? Weightlifting, cardio? What should I focus on when I'm getting in shape?
I started with weightlifting when I was when I was training for Miss Universe Bahrain, and apparently some say that you shouldn't. Yeah, because it will make you look bulky and you're trying to look feminine apparently. But this is why I say it's all up to you. What do you want to do? What do you want to represent? If you want to represent a bulky, muscular woman who's, you know what I mean? She's, you want to showcase the women that work out a lot, the fitness industry, what that could do for women, that's on you. Then you do more weightlifting. If you want to tone down a bit, it's whatever will add to your confidence at the end of the day. If you don't feel like prioritizing on working out, cool.
But will it make you win? Would you be going against what they evaluate?
I think so.
Oh, okay.
I think so, in a way where, because it would give you more energy as well, right? Let's not just look at the physical aspect of working out. You'll get energy, which you will need. You're going to be sleeping 2 to 3 hours in the actual pageant. What will have kept you going? You need maybe the extra muscle mass or something. I don't know. But
the endurance, of course, the stamina.
You need the endurance, exactly. And you need to eat better. That's for you as well. That's for your brain to function. You need to know what to eat and when, during the pageant, before the pageant, sustain your energy, know when to peak. Those are kind of the things that I learned when I was studying all of this. Is like you can even overexert your energy in the prep process and then have nothing by the time you get to the international competition. So it's also important to find a balance in all of it, which is easier said than done. Way easier said than done. So checklist, workout, yes. Eat better would do you some good. Plan the snacks that you're going to take with you to the country in which you're going to compete in. Please pack protein bars. Pack the snacks. I didn't do that. I regret it. Thankfully, Miss Philippines Chelsea always had like a candy or two, so that, increased the sugar levels, gave me a bit of energy to keep me going here and there when we were training.
What diet do you need to follow? Do you follow a special diet when you're preparing for the competition, not on the days?
For me, it was just, the thing that people have to know is you will lose weight. It's a common thing. Every pageant girl knows you lose weight regardless.
The training, the stress, maybe.
There's just so much going on and you barely have time for personal friendships, personal relationships. That was where I really struggled. And I think my friends just had to understand that where's Shereen? She's doing something pageant related. It's something that could help with something, right? Whether it's an interview here, setting up something here, working on my social media here, trying to talk to designers to help me borrow their gowns here. There's always something. It was fully packed because you're trying to cramp a lot of things in a short amount of time and still making sure that you do a good job at representing your country and representing yourself in the best light. Sourcing your clothes is an important thing. I would always advise any girl, even if you haven't even won. Ideally, the best prep is, even if you haven't even won your national competition yet and you're just going on delusion and pure delusion alone, prepare, dear. Prepare for the international pageants clothing anyway. Find the designers that you know will work with you. Find the friends that have really great outfits that you could borrow from in advance. Start sourcing. Start collecting all the accessories, all the hair pieces, all of the thingamajigs. Prepare the checklist in advance because you can never be too prepared, I guess.
When you were talking about the type of workouts and whether that might hurt your chance of winning, and we spoke about wearing a burkini as well, whether it might hurt your chance of actually making it past to the next stage, I guess there's a bigger question around what's more important. What do you stand for and how you represent yourself, or creating the best chance of winning? Because even if you win, then you get a bigger platform to stand for what you want to stand for. And I guess this is going to be a conflict most people are going to face, where you have a certain set of ideals or principles, but you're also part of a competition that has some rules where they're trying to judge you. So how do you find that balance?
How do you find that balance? Honestly speaking, I mean, at least for me personally, I don't find the balance. You just decide in that moment. I would take it on a moment to moment basis. I had 100% every intention of winning Miss Universe Bahrain, whatever it took. Because I knew I only needed that platform to help me with Hope Amal Bahrain and to maybe help me advance in my career just a little bit so that I could support my mother some more, so that maybe nobody would try to negotiate down my rates. Like I have my own specific reasons. That's why I mean it's a case by case basis. Or for me, it's taking myself somewhere else or creating a legacy that maybe I could talk to my children about, about like, I don't know, trying something new, putting yourself out there with the road not taken.
Yeah, I think it's tough because you could make a case like even if you win the competition, you get a bigger platform and then you can spark bigger change, right?
That's why it's always about exactly how much are you like, how laser focused are you on the real thing? And how important is the reason that you want to join for you or the reason that you do want to win, right? Is it just for fame? I don't think that's going to carry you through. Much like any other industry, there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes in this industry that is challenging, to say the least. So what are you going to look back into or remember or carry that like what is that core reason that will keep you going in the hard times where you want to quit? Because I know I had many moments where I wanted to quit in the national competition, in the international competition. But the main thing for me was I don't like being a quitter and I don't like having an opinion about something until I see it through for myself from A to Z. Then I will have the opinion on it. I don't like to judge a book by its cover until I've been a part of the pages at least. That's just it. So it's a case by case basis, I think.
How accessible do you think Miss Universe is now? Do you think anyone can become Miss Universe? When you won, you mentioned that in your second attempt for Miss Universe Bahrain, you had reached out to a Q&A personality coach. You had reached out to a Pasarela trainer, professional pageant makeup artist, stylist. You've said in the past you were fortunate to have a network of loving and supportive people. You've had experience being in front of the camera for Love in Dubai, Emirates Draw, speaking so eloquently there. So you've had that experience and you've had prior experience at Miss Universe itself in 2022. Are we reaching a stage where this is almost the bare minimum you have to do in order to realistically stand a chance, because it's become so competitive that only if you have access to these resources, that not everyone will have access to coaches, training facilities, access to maybe a good diet or anything else, access to training of sorts. Only then do you realistically stand a chance? Or do you think still anyone can win Miss Universe?
I think anyone can still win Miss Universe. Everything else, I don't want to say is fluff. It's just to also get you in the right mindset. I feel like the more, The more preparation can't hurt anybody. I think it's much like athletes with their sport, right? You cannot practice enough. You cannot keep training enough. It'll only keep doing good things for you. So the more chances you take with every aspect of the competition, the higher your chances are of winning. But at the end of the day, sometimes it's also just luck. Sometimes it's also just destiny. Sometimes maybe the organization's just looking for a wholesome, pretty face that can speak well. Other times they want somebody that, has something this year that they're really fighting for. Or sometimes they want the whole package. Or sometimes even if you don't have the whole package, you carried yourself well enough and put on such a great show and you were great behind the scenes with people and people speak highly of your good graces and your humility and your kindness or whatever it may be, that, hey, that made the cut. So again, it's...
With athletes and professional sports, I feel like we've reached a stage where it's becoming tougher for anyone to just reach a professional level because it's become so scientific. You have to follow a particular diet. You have to have access to specialized training equipment and facilities, access to maybe recovery facilities, because that gives you that extra 10%, which you now need to be able to reach the professional
For
level.
sure, with athletes, there's no relying on luck at all. So that's where pageantry differs a little bit, right? Where it's like, I think even you don't have to have everything that I mentioned. You know, you can have maybe half of that, but you would need still a little bit of training if you especially have no idea what pageantry is or what they're looking for. I just think it would give you a little bit of a gauge. But I know a lot of girls that were with me in the international pageant that maybe trained once and they just carried themselves with confidence and they knew what they wanted out of the competition. You know, they knew that, hey, I'm good. I'm happy enough just being able to stand on this stage. That's enough for me. Or some that even maybe trained once and still managed to place. I cannot say who they are, of course, because that's not my place to say. But that's what I'm saying. It's what, 20% destiny, or no, I'm not gonna add in numbers. Let's cut that part.
10% luck, 20% skill. No,
Something like that.
It's a Fort Minor
something
song.
percent destiny, something percent luck, and then something percent preparation. But I think preparation is key for anything you want to do in life. I'm not gonna sit here and not know what I'm talking about. For example, if you're asking me to give a master class on pageantry, imagine if I had not done any prep, what would I be talking about with you? Absolutely nothing, Shalaj. I would be sipping on this matcha.
Which is good
and
enough.
just vibing.
You'll be surprised how many people will just watch you sip matcha for 2 hours. It's uplifting to hear this because in that same documentary, they talk about, at least in the Philippines, because it's so competitive, now if you don't have a team behind you, if you don't have access to the resources, you're not going to stand a chance of winning. It's just that cutthroat.
It is a little bit crazy. It is a little bit crazy. But again, that's the Philippines. And it has changed so many lives there, and it is still such a still such a revered industry, and people will naturally support you because Filipinos, right? The three most important thing: boxing, basketball, and beauty pageants. So that's when you see the Filipino spirit really coming through. Sometimes these teams, they don't even take payments. They will just approach the girl who they feel has what it takes, and they will offer whatever they can to help, whether it be helping with styling, with the hair, with the makeup while they're in the country, or helping teach them how to do their own makeup for the international pageant, help them borrow clothes, help them walk better, answer questions better, carry themselves a different way. And it's all just for the love of pageantry. They just love to be able to say that, oh my God, I was a part of her team. I was a part of her journey and her change, her transformation, if you will. So I think that's great. That's a great thing for Filipinos. I think while there is that dark side that exists everywhere else, and it's just up to you. You have to be very smart as well. You have to be just as street smart with this industry as you would any other industry, and really suss out people who you can trust, can't trust. Don't do things you don't want to do. Stand up for yourself, even if sometimes it feels like you're being judged for using your voice. But remember that it's you in this journey, and that maybe that's just the difference you can add to this platform, is to be truthful, is to be honest, is to stand up where you need to stand up, find loopholes where it needs to, where you can, and support other women in ways that you can and know how. Whether that's in silence, whether that's in private or publicly. It's whatever you're comfortable with at the end of the day.
I love hearing stories like this where the community comes together and tries to help everyone come up, especially with countries that are slightly smaller, trying to break it on a bigger stage, and they find these different fields or art forms or anchor points in which they're really good and they can show their country's culture and heritage. I think it's fascinating. I love it.
It is.
While we're talking about things that might give you an advantage, you would assume hosting the Love in Dubai show or Emirates Draw would give you extra experience. But you've said in the past that at times you had to curb the journalist, Shereen, because you felt like there's a tendency as an interviewer, as a journalist, to ask a question and then take a step back, let the light shine on the guest. But you had to learn to reset that muscle memory and assert yourself in conversation, get loud about values?
I was told by my organization, they're like, Shireen, we know you love to yap. So yap your heart out, but you need to remember who you are now. I think I had a hard time remembering that I was now the guest and I was now the subject as opposed to the person that wants to know the information. And so I was still answering questions in a way that I would, like with you asking me the questions, like I was still, and I think I default to that naturally. Like it's been so ingrained in me. I mean, it has been my job for the longest time. But again, this is why I always say that, like with everything else, there are ups and downs. With pageantry, there were a lot of ups and downs. But I am very, very grateful for the way that it has forced me to show up for myself and to really speak and to really just use my voice and be loud and not be afraid to take up space, because I'm literally being given the space and the platform to speak. Like, your time is now, dear. It's not tomorrow. It's not next week. This is what you worked hard for, and this is the moment now. So speak about what you want to speak about. So yeah, I had a hard time with that, but I feel like I hope I'm getting better day by day. What do you think? You've sat with me now for how long?
We'll put a poll out there and we'll find out what people think.
Is Shireen still answering like a journalist?
Yeah.
Yes or no? Why or why not?
Answer now. And any hate mail I get, I'm sending it your way.
Please do. Please do. I'm ready.
Yeah. Let's bring it back to the checklist. Skincare. What skincare routine should I follow?
Simple. You won't have the time to really keep it simple. You won't have the time to be consistent with it. So rose water spritz in the morning, a face wash, moisturizer day and night. That's all. Keep it cute. Keep it chill. I think a lot of other girls tend to go and get extra help. With cosmetic clinics, if you will. Like
surgeries, procedures.
For some surgeries, for some fillers, for some boosters. So it's, again, whatever you're comfortable with. I like facials, for example, is one not so invasive way to do that. But I wouldn't do it 1 week before the pageant because, of course, you could get a reaction. I would do it maybe 3 weeks before. So, yeah. Turmeric face mask. I don't know. We love a turmeric face mask. Lush. Shout out.
I'll set up my appointment with my plastic surgeon tomorrow.
My God. Again, though, you don't have to. Shalaj, if you're confident enough in your true beauty, rock it.
Well, so far it's only my mom who thinks I'm good looking, so I think I might have to. Okay,
that's it. That's enough. That's all you need.
Enough. She watches. Okay, what about makeup, hairstyle, stylist, outfits? How do I go about creating the vision for it? How do I create my mood boards? What type of research should I do? What should be the driving forces for this?
Okay. I would start with, who do you idolize, maybe? Who do you want to become as? There's a podcast I listen to called Becoming Her by Margarita. Though it's very unrelated to this. I think the title of her podcast name is something that you could keep in your mind, which is, who is her to you? Who is the her maybe you always wanted to be? If you ever aspired to become a certain version of yourself, a leveled up version of yourself in some way, somehow, whether physically, energetically, find the inspirations that led to that. You know, for me, like, it was speakers like Priyanka Chopra, Aishwarya Rai, a little bit of Oprah, a little bit of here and there. And
Michelle D. Yeah.
Sorry?
Michelle D.
Oh my God, yes. I like her edge. I like how she just went for things. And, you know, she cut her hair this short, like right before the pageant. And when everybody would always tell you, like, in a pageant, you have to have long hair. You have to be the most feminine version of yourself. She's like, don't care. And still placed and still did the most. And what was important was, even though she didn't win that, I think she's happy with herself. Her fans are happy with her. And there's a whole new host of Filipino kids or kids around the world that are like, oh my God, I can do what I want as long as I do it with full confidence that this is who I am and I can stand by that. So anyway, off topic. Okay.
Back to creating the vision. How do I research?
Research. So yeah, you start with a mood board, like you said. So I would go on Keynote, maybe on my laptop, or maybe Pinterest.
Not PowerPoint.
Not
Keynote.
PowerPoint, Keynote.
This is useful insights. You know?
Or Pinterest, save it, create an album on your phone. That's kind of some of the things I did. I was like, who do I want to emulate. I'm also thinking about Bahrainis. How are Bahraini women perceived? Do I want to showcase that on the stage? Do I want to highlight that more in my interviews? Do I want to talk about certain things?
You wore the Jalwa bridal gown
Yes.
as well. Firstly, what is it? And then why did you choose
So the
to wear it?
Jalwa is our engagement outfit. It's not even our wedding outfit. I think they announced it as a bridal outfit, but it was the engagement look. And we wear that, like, I think as part of our henna night. And you're just with your girlies. So that's just what you wear with the girls and you, and you're in green. And there's a whole bunch of tradition and rituals that they do on that night that the women in your family or your friends help you do. So I thought that was an interesting part of our culture that not a lot of people know about, and in Khaliji culture actually. And I just wanted Khaliji girls who could have been watching, the so few girls who maybe are watching, to be like, oh wow, I've never seen our traditional bridal engagement look anywhere on the international stage, which I'm not sure, I don't want to claim it, but for me at least, that was my maybe first time seeing that on an international stage. So that for me was a big thing. And I didn't do it just for the world to see Bahraini style and elegance and the artistry, but I wanted it so that the little Bahraini girls who were watching could be like, oh my God, that's us. Just literally just to represent. And especially the bukhur, The bukhur is iconic. Still have it up my fridge right now. I actually do wish that I added like a fake smoke situation, but if you watch the performance, I had to pretend like I was bukhuring myself with nothingness. But going back to that, figure out your style. If you already know your style, hone in on that more.
For those who don't know, what does the bukhur represent? Why is it part of tradition?
Why is it part of tradition? Well,
what does it represent?
We not only use it to make our hairs smell nice, our abayas, our clothing. We use it to welcome our guests in wedding, in our homes. It's a kind of tradition and a ritual that we do to add that little extra something to make guests feel more welcome, right? Like, look, I prepared this home for you so that it's part of our hospitality. And there are also spiritual reasons why it's done, right? Some use it along with some du'as to clear themselves of evil eye, of any negative energy, to cleanse the energy. So I feel like, I don't know, it's just such a significant part of not just Khaliji, but Arab culture in general, that it felt important to showcase it up on that stage since it hadn't been done before as well.
I think a very powerful choice. Glad you made it.
Thank you.
Let's move away from the physical aspects to the mental attributes. When you won Miss Universe Bahrain, you wrote that in 2022, I joined Miss Universe Bahrain and placed second runner-up. At the time, I was just taking a risk, trying to rid myself of fear. Outwardly, it may have seemed effortless, but deep down, I still doubted my potential to be a role model. Even after sharing my story and impacting others, I wasn't convinced I could truly be her. In multiple interviews since then, you've spoken about being deserving of the crown. And even though in 2022, you thought you were ready, now you know in hindsight, you were not ready. So this time you spoke about listening to a lot of podcasts, self-improvement, growth podcasts as well.
Yes.
So what did you learn? What makes a person deserving of the crown? And then how do you actually know that you're ready this time to finally win? Even though in that moment, you don't feel like you're ready.
I can say now, after having gone through the international pageant, that you may be able to feel ready in that moment because now you've done the prep and this and that, but I don't think you'll ever really feel fully ready. Even the ones who have done majority of the prep, depending on how your mind is and how you obsess over things. In my case, I obsess over things, and I feel like if I didn't get to do it to 100% of what I imagined it to be, then it's not done. It wasn't even done 1 or 10%. It doesn't apply. It does not count. So what have I learned is, as much as you need to have that drive and that focus and that belief, and you have to take it through, you have to action everything that you want to do and try your best. Even if it's unattainable, try before you can say that it's unattainable. To believe in yourself, you have to know that you put in 110%. Because if you'll always know in the back of your mind, there were still areas in which you could have done things and you didn't, that's what will affect you. That's what will affect your mindset. That's what will affect your confidence. And if I'm being honest, and I've never said this anywhere because this is, I think, this is not my first, but this is the first time I'm saying this after the international pageant. There were still moments where I was like, wow, this could have been really done in a different way, in a better way. But it could also just be me being my biggest critic sometimes, and also wanting to do such a good job to really create a moment for your country, for the people who supported you behind the scenes. But
what would you want to do different now when you look back on your performance?
Well, but again, it was not something that I could have had control over, which is why I want to share to everybody. If you have the time, if you have the leisure of time right now, prepare. I would have wanted more clothes, for example, from like more Bahraini designers so that I could have walked around and all the activities in that. I would have wanted to maybe prepare in a sense where I planned in an ideal world, planned all of my outfits with the hair and the makeup look ahead of time, maybe like in a PDF, so that I wouldn't have to think of what did I need to wear on that day, and I could get maybe 1 hour extra sleep so that I could have more energy to do what was expected of us throughout the pageant. So a lot of pageantry, as much as it's your on-stage performance, is also how you show up behind the scenes, how you show up for the pageant community, the bloggers. I wish I could have done more to get the attention of people, to get more traction on Bahrain, to get more conversation around Bahrain. I also wish I had more energy to communicate with more girls than the maybe 10 to 20 girls I was speaking to. But again, that's not in my control because we all were tired. We didn't have all the time in the world. And there were 120 plus girls. This is the only time ever in the history of Miss Universe where 120 plus girls come together. It's usually between 60 to 80 maximum. So that's a lot of girls. So you can't really form that much of a bond with all of them. So those are a few of my regrets. But again, to get to that level, it's just having immense trust, immense belief in yourself, and having such a strong support system. I think that's so, so, so important. Like, I don't think I would have made it through any of that if I didn't have a strong partner, if I didn't have a strong best friend who was practically a part of this pageant at this point, who learned every terminology, all the Pasarela, all the Q&A. She would ask me questions while we were doing daily walks so that we could habit stack, for my physical health, and at the same time training for my Q&A and my personality development, if you will. So going back to the point that I, of course, again, can't remember because I blabber.
It was more about how do you know when you're actually ready, but you have answered that question, of course.
You'll feel it. You'll feel it. It's in the way that you would have prepared. It's in the way that you would have understood the things that you need to understood. An unprepared mind will not feel ready. A prepared mind will feel somewhat ready, but will always still have a bit of a voice of criticize. Wow, my English has completely left the building. A voice of critique in your head. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's still a good thing. As much as it's good to have grace on yourself, you should have that, of course. I've now understood that, I couldn't do everything. Bahrain doesn't understand pageantry yet. So I wasn't at the level at which, for example, a candidate from the Philippines could have been, where they could be like, hey, I want to borrow this, and this. And they would all be like, yes, sure, of course. I couldn't do that. I tried my very best, and that's all I could have done. And everything happens for a reason. At the end of the day, I walked away with what I believe was the most important award of all. Because that was my reason for being there, to be a voice for change. That's it. So I'm still content.
Yeah, I think these are good, not just good, these are great insights, because no one, and you shouldn't be too hard on yourself, because everyone plans for the rounds, but this is good insight that you should also plan your outfits, and you should plan to the T what you're going to be doing when you're not performing.
And plan for your disappointment in yourself. Because you're never going to be able to execute everything that you have in mind, even with the best teams around. Your walk may have been something in your mind, but you might not be able to. Something could have happened. A force of wind could struck you, right? They could give you heels at the pageant that will make you trip and fall. I didn't expect in my Jalwa round that I would have a little moment where I kind of tripped. I'm sure you saw that. Did you?
I did.
So, but I didn't expect that. But then I was like, oh, okay. In that moment, you go on, move on, like nothing happened. So, and then you just go with it.
Yeah,
And
you
that's
handled that very well.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Also, you've mentioned how you trained for so long to say the Kingdom of Bahrain when you announce yourself, but when you
Yes.
got there, yeah, it just changed. Everything just changes, right? So you should be prepared.
If there's
to just,
really any legitimate advice I could leave you guys here with, don't scream as much as I did. Don't do it. I was overcome with the energy of the crowd, right? I mean, and also I literally had to run from the right side of the stage all the way backstage to the left because we were the first group to be called out. Bahrain A, it was alphabetical order. Yeah. So by the time I got there, I was like, I'm out of breath. What if they don't hear me? What if I'm not loud enough? So then I just screamed it out just to make up for the supposed fear of a lack of a voice or a vocal cord. So don't do that. You will have your voice, Keep it cute.
These things always happen in big competitions. You can't anticipate every small thing. So that's always going to happen. There's an Oprah Winfrey quote which says, the greatest discovery of all time is that a person can change his future by merely changing his attitude.
So true.
Thank you. 5 on 5.
So spot on. Thanks, Winfrey. Miss
And
Winfrey.
it's good to know that there's, even for people who have achieved so much, there's always going to be a little bit of imposter syndrome. So that it helps because for everyone else out there, there's always that imposter syndrome that I'm not good enough, that I don't deserve it. So it's good to hear that. What is your relationship with beauty? You spoke about this earlier. You're in a profession, not just the pageants, but even the professions you've been after that, where there is a certain amount of weightage that's given to physical appearance and beauty. And this often becomes a double-edged sword. You see this with models and actors in particular who build a brand based on how they look a certain way. And then over time, naturally, as you age, faces change, bodies change, and they're still beautiful people. But for the rest of the world, because they're used to a certain image of these people, they get a bit mean, and then there's an immediate downfall. You start seeing mean comments like, oh, you won't believe what Tom Cruise looks like right now. Is this something you think about? Is this something you're cognizant of, that because physical appearance becomes central to at least a professional identity, along with other things, you've spoken about so many of the skills you need in pageants, of course, but this is also given some weightage now, that it might be a double-edged sword? Is this something you think about? Is this a challenge?
Of course,
Okay.
especially with my work as a presenter. I mean, it still applies, right? Yeah. And I also modeled since I was 15. So some could say that a lot of my jobs always involved myself looking a certain way. And I'm not gonna deny the fact that can sometimes add to one's privilege, that can sometimes get you things, and sometimes that can be part of one's downfall if you just completely rely or depend on that. Yeah. And so the way that I've been trying to, I don't want to say combat, but the way that I've been planning or preparing for that, because I am an overthinker and an over planner, and I have a to-do list for every single thing, even things that should happen 20 years from now, has taken precedence in the first step, which was really, right, finding my voice, being confident enough in my voice, and showing up for myself on digital platforms with just my voice, hopefully, so that one could trickle to the other, and then I could just depend on that voice and using that to impact somebody else, to inspire somebody else, to maybe lead me to whatever the next trajectory is, where I wouldn't then have to rely on my face. And finding, I guess, other passions that maybe don't involve that. For me, that was always writing. Writing was always my first love. And a lot of the times I get caught up in random things. I think I said this in the first episode, and I'm still getting caught up in everything else but writing. But I think it's because I know that that's going to be well, that sounds gory, but that's going to be the final stage of my life. As I think...
The final destination.
yeah, so like from that until maybe the end of my life, that's going to be something then that I will challenge myself and then focus on it, because I know the kind of joy that used to bring me, and that I know it will still bring me joy later down the line. Maybe there's going to be a book somewhere that's not written by me, like it's not going to be named by me with my name in it. Maybe it's going to be anonymously written, and then there will be some with my name on it. You never know. Maybe I'll ghostwrite for a celebrity for their autobiography. Like, sky's the limit. But yeah, I think it's just about accepting that, being okay with it. That's how the world works at the end of the day. But people still believe in stories. People still believe in your voice. And there's always going to be somebody there that could be inspired by whatever it is that you do, regardless of how you look. So keep finding whatever that avenue is, I guess.
Yeah, you know for a fact this life you've lived so far and the experiences you've had, it's going to make some badass poetry. We know it's going to happen. How do you handle being in the public eye? You've mentioned, I guess only half joking at this point, where you woke up one day and you were receiving death threats from Indonesians because of some Indonesia versus Bahrain football match.
And I love Indonesians.
Well, not anymore.
I
And you have your
still love
football
them.
team to blame for that.
And you know what? Miss Universe Indonesia was really, really lovely, Clara Shafira. And I've had half Indonesian best friend growing up. So I even know a song called Pencita Wanita. And I still want to visit Bali, though I'm really scared now.
It's too late now. It doesn't matter what you know. It's
because
over.
you know what? There was one random woman at a salon who works there, and she was like, "Where are you from?" And she was so excited. And I was like, "I'm half Bahraini, half Filipino." And she's like, "Oh, Bahrain." And then she said the thing that they've been saying in their threats to me. And I was like, you know, I don't have anything to do with that. I don't
We know you do.
I have nothing to do with that. And also, you don't know that that's true, right? You don't know that that's true. And I'm a pageant girl. I'm a presenter.
That's what they all say.
I think
But in general, how do you handle?
on a serious
A lot of people
note,
are going to
though,
comment on your physical
how do I
appearance.
handle?
Yeah.
I just humor. That's it. Because there were times back in this was my biggest fear, right? This was the reason I didn't show up 100% on social media. I always dip just a little so that I could still come back to my cocoon. This was that, and I experienced that, and I'm glad. And I don't even think that's the worst case scenario still, even though technically I really was receiving I hope somebody comes and bombs your country and your house. And like, it was extreme to the point where I actually, I think I reached out to the embassy of Indonesia on Instagram or something. And I was like, please guys, do something about this. I don't know that I received a response though, but I don't think that whatever is going on anywhere around the world, that anyone, a single person or a single group of people, deserve to receive death threats or be called pigs or to be insulted based on their religion. And I don't stand for that. That I don't stand for. But how do I deal with it? I also know that that's the reality of the world. I also know that if I say one thing that's wrong, it could happen. Nobody's going to know the real me 100%. Nobody's going to know my true intentions as much as I try to showcase it. And it's not my place to try to control that anymore. It is what it is. And that's it. You just have to have that understanding of genuinely it is what it is, and maybe find a way to laugh at it and know that you're good, right? I don't need anymore the validation of other people. Khalas. As long as you're not accusing me of killing somebody or doing something that's illegal, which I really did not do, then do what you want, say what you want. Although I don't encourage it. I am still a sensitive girl at heart. So please be nice, guys. But
Message has been sent to the 2 people who watched this show.
yes, to the 2 viewers, please, come on. Do you have a lot more viewers? Come on.
One drop at a time.
Way more viewers than Loud Besties.
These 2 people are the only ones who are reading the comments. So the message has been passed. When you're talking about how stressful the whole event can get, it's a whirlwind roller coaster. And you might have these moments where you just rush from one part to the other. Do you have any hacks, any routines that help you calm your nerves, any mental exercises that help?
Having a great best friend to talk to. 2-minute, 5-minute meditations, because you won't really have the time to sit through 10-minute ones.
A 14-day retreat.
Yes. So somebody told me about this breathing technique. Was it like, and also in yoga, they make you do that, right? It's like inhale for 4 seconds, keep it for 4, exhale for 8. So I think just keep doing that. For me, it's writing as well. Like I had a near-death experience on a recent flight of mine. It wasn't really near-death. There was turbulence, and I thought that was the last of me. And so I took out my journal, as you do, and I wrote down my final words, as you do. But that was also just to get my mind off of it. Like, because at least I was then doing something else as opposed to thinking, oh my God, is this finally going to be it? Like, so yeah, find the distractions that work for you, or find the presence of mind that work for you. For me, that's writing. For me, that's meditating. For me, that's a stretch, a 2-minute, 5-minute body stretch, 1 hour if I can. Going to a class is a really great one. Podcast, escaping into a podcast, escaping into your favorite comfort movie for the time being. Those little things that make you happy.
I can resonate every time there's turbulence. But first thought is, oh, this is it. And that's it. But at that point, some solipsism helps where, the second thought is, this is not how it's going to end. It's not going to end on Frontier Airlines, heading to this one particular place.
Yeah, that's where affirmations really come in. That's another thing that and I continue to try to adopt in my day-to-day life. Not just in looking at myself in the mirror and saying, hey, you're pretty and you are limitless. But also like, hey, you're not gonna die. This happens all the time in flights. This is just a pageant. YOLO. Apply it however which way you can. I've created a whole business bay here. I don't know if you've noticed.
We're gonna come to it. Let's not jump ahead.
Oh, okay,
in fact, you know what? Let's get to it. What masterpiece have you created with the Lego?
There was really no thought. It was just a great way for my undiagnosed ADHD to thrive in this setup. But I feel like this is so very business bay with the Burj Khalifa. Unconsciously, I feel, listen, you're judging it and I can see that.
Not at all. I mean, if you see the nonsense I've built, I'm in no place to judge. Oh, also
it looks like an IKEA cabinet.
That's exactly what I was building. How did you know?
Was it? I don't know.
I'm a genius. I didn't.
IKEA, hit him up. Maybe he could do the podcast there.
Or it could also be an addition to your business bay.
Actually, yes.
Yeah, slightly out of place, but
so pretty.
There we go.
I love the pink, by the way, and the purple.
You would assume someone's put thought into this show.
You really do. Yeah. With this is what I look forward to. It's not even just the chats, it's the detail, the attention to detail.
Okay, well, thank you for promoting it to the 2 people who anyway watch. So nothing's going to change. Okay, I think, the mental skills. I have the physical skills. I think I've parked aside a question about advocacy. We're going to come to that. Apart from that, is there anything I'm missing in my checklist, or do you think I'm ready?
I think I missed a couple of things in the checklist because, again, I yapped. So I think you asked about makeup and hair. Yeah. So again, with that, I would say for hair, buy a lot of pieces that are ready-made so that you can sleep a little bit more and not worry about your hair. For eyelashes, I regret not doing this, but maybe eyelash extensions, unless you're really good with applying falsies yourself. But the time that it takes to apply falsies, you might as well just get eyelash extensions, because chances are in the international competition, you have 2 weeks of activities and training up until the point, which is, eyelash extensions last about a month. So that. Acrylic nails maybe, or gelish nails, bring in extra nails in case one of them break off or something like that. What else? Makeup, have pegs, practice the makeup that looks good on you, practice the makeup in heavy lighting, because the lights are going to be crazy on stage. So whatever you apply in a normal setting like this would need to be tripled or quadrupled. There will be makeup artists and hairstylists who will help you on the day. We do have that backstage. But a lot of the girls want to know that they have control over that too, because of course the makeup artists are not always going to know your face. So perhaps if you perfect the signature look of yours that you like, it's best to do your own. Unless you know a makeup artist there that's really good and you've experienced their work, do that. What else? Have a list, all the makeup products, all the products that work on you. Another regret of mine is I didn't practice enough with the right foundation, the right powder that could keep my face sweat-free for more hours. And I just went with my old routine, which doesn't really work in a competition setup. If you're watching makeup artists do your makeup, and if you like the way they do it, record them doing it, ask if it's fine so that you can copy that same thing. A lot of the times I was watching how my makeup artist would do my face, and I would do that like 3 a.m, half asleep, watching that, you know? And prioritize sleep. Whatever way you can, prioritize sleep, but also know that it's only 2 weeks of your life. So whatever hardship it is that you're going through there, and whatever you feel you're lacking with the hair, their makeup, firstly, the girls are always going to be ready to help you, which is really great. I didn't believe that there would be such a sisterhood. I was like, maybe they're just saying that. Maybe it's just for PR. But it's so true. It's so true. It's one of the things I will never regret about taking part in such a competition, is that the women all came in as queens already anyway, right? So at that point, yes, we were still in a competition for the bigger thing, but at that point, everybody is already also so chill. And I think even if you were all fighting for the same thing, there's never a reason to go out of your way to either backstab or say negative things about someone, or to just go out of your way to trample on somebody else, because that doesn't really add to your, to your presentation. It doesn't add to it. It won't make a difference. If you were good anyway, there's no need to do that. There's just no point in ruining that camaraderie behind the stage. Don't make it an unpleasant experience. But on that note, you can always rely on your sisters to help you with a flying eyelash, borrow accessories from. I had great girls that helped me out with some clothes because I lacked, certain clothing at some point. And have fun. With all of that pressure, I know it sounds like a lot. Don't forget to breathe. Don't forget to just, literally, this is an experience you're gonna talk about years from now. It's a once in a lifetime thing. You can't join again. If you represent your country once on the international stage, for Miss Universe at least, you can't do it anymore. But that's it. You're part of history. I'm always gonna know that I was the 4th person, and I can't wait to see who the 10th, the 20th person is. Would it be a daughter of mine in the future? Would I allow her? I don't know. That's another question.
Will you?
To build character and strength and resilience, I would. Yes, I would. Because I feel like if you start off there, everything else in life is going to be so easy with you at this point. Because you're really going to deal with so many different characters. So many people will tell you, you're cute. Like people who have been fans of the pageant industry, right? Who are not understanding the shift that's happening, maybe, or who don't maybe believe in the shift, or who have a different idea of pageantry, that it should still be just about the beauty. Who will tell you, hey, you need to fix this. Hey, you need to do this to your body. Hey, you need to get this filler. Hey, cut out the noise. Another tip. There's so many advice, actually. I really cannot do it in an hour or two.
So we need a second checklist? I think we have a lot.
There's
of
a
good
lot.
Stuff.
But if you need more, to the 2 viewers, 200 manifesting. To the 200 viewers, if you need more, hit me up for mentorship. I do offer those.
Okay. Well,
I didn't expect you to promote your services.
Why not?
Thank you.
This has been a promotion for you.
Actually, I didn't even think about it. I just am thinking about it. This just actually came up now. I'm not sure whether or not I do want to take that. But if there is somebody, especially Bahraini girls, we would have more of an understanding of how it'll be, because we're still here. We know how it is. It's not as easy. So I'm ready to be that support for you guys, even though I will be moving on to different things, obviously, after I close this chapter of pageantry. I'll always be grateful for it. And with that gratitude, I'll still be willing to help other girls navigate it so that maybe they'll have a much easier journey or a better one.
I can vouch that Shereen would be there for future Bahraini
Always.
Candidates.
And everyone else, not just Bahraini, but
you have already
majority.
Flown, but they can fly even higher because of the work you've already done.
Inshallah.
As we wind down, I have to talk about advocacy.
Yes.
You've always said the crown is a symbol. And given everything we spoke about in the first conversation, you spoke so openly about your childhood, about being raised by a single mother. So excited to see what you've done with the platform. You've been the voice for change. So let's talk about it. What is Hope Bahrain?
Hope Amal Bahrain is a platform that I started right before Miss Universe Bahrain started, because I thought, might as well. First and foremost, this has always been in my plans. I was like always thinking, you do little things here and there to make a difference. Maybe you don't talk about it. But I thought, what else can I do that could create a bigger impact? What significance can I add on a slightly bigger scale, that will create or invite more people from the community, or to form a community for these women, because I know how hard it is. I always wish that my mom had somebody to be able to message on maybe some desperate months where maybe money wasn't coming in. Be like, hey, could you just give us this and that? So that she and I wouldn't have to share a piece of bread while walking the streets and seeing which friend of hers was available, who we could get leftovers from. That's heartbreaking for any child. And you don't want any other child to go through that. You don't want any other family to go through that. It's the reality though, sometimes. And I just wanted to make it a bit easier. Hope Amal Bahrain does that just by providing the basics for now. We provide diapers, baby formula, sanitary napkins, sometimes grocery items, non-perishable food items. In Ramadan, we were distributing Ramadan food boxes. And it's really the community coming together. My job is just to use that platform, to create that platform, to put it there. But it's the women, it's the other mothers that are making this happen. The other mothers in Bahrain. If I post something, hey, this mom needs this, they'll come through in less than 5 minutes and say, I have this, where can I give it? And they're proactive. And it's almost like they've been waiting for something like this, which makes you wonder, why didn't it exist in the first place? Sorry. Of course, you wish that it didn't have to exist, because then that would mean these moms wouldn't need to. But it's a nice, safe space where they could come and not be judged. And I don't want to ask too much questions. I don't even ask for too much proof. It's a community. It's not like a non-profit or anything like that. It's not with the government. So I just want it to be a space where they could really come through, and they do. And when they're in a space, even some of these moms where they're able to, they then return the favor to other moms, which I think is so awesome. And it really started because a lovely lady called Abby Kadom started a similar platform called Hope Amal UAE from 2020, I believe. And I found her page because a friend of mine who passed away some time back was the one that actually told me about the page, because she was kind of going through it. She was a single mom as well to my goddaughter. And she said, oh my God, there's this platform that was able to give me, some basics to get through this month, but I'm like too shy to ask them again. And I thought, firstly, what is this platform? And then she showed me the platform, and it just kind of made me, I don't know what it was. It hit a chord. It hit a chord somehow, and I was just so inspired. I tried my best, obviously, to do my part with that friend. But I was glad to know that there was another community that made her feel less alone in the moments where she could have been, because, when other people have their own lives, we all get so consumed by our own lives. And one of my biggest regrets is, I don't want to say it. I don't want to do it. One of my biggest regrets is wishing I could have done more. So in a way, I just thought, why not bring this kind of firstly, why not work with this platform, which I did, and I just used my Instagram so that I'm not just posting pretty pictures of myself all the time, and I'm actually using it for good. Maybe one story can reach one person who could help this mom so that they can eat something for this month. And then I wanted to extend that to Bahrain, because that was the reason for doing all of this. That was what carried me, in the times where I was like, what does this even matter? Why does it matter what I'm wearing? Why does it matter what I'm doing? Why does it matter how I'm showing up physically? Why did I do this? Why would I put myself through this? I'm an accomplished person. I don't need any of this. But then I would remember this was why. Because as much as there were other ways to maybe accomplish that, there are other ways for sure. I knew that having the platform, having the title could add how do you put this? Strategically, right? It could add that sensationalism that would give the media enough reasons to care, to talk about it, which will get it the attention it needs. And so it goes and goes and goes. That's what attracts people. There needs to be a story. So I knew I needed to finish that story so that this could do this. And right after the competition, and I remember feeling so bad because I was like, I wish I could do it all at the same time. Like I started the page and I remember wishing I could do it all at the same time. Like post all the outfits, talk about Bahrain, do this, do that, you know, do the pre-pageant stuff, but still get the community rolling for Hope Amal Bahrain. But you can't do it all at once. And so I really promised myself right after the pageant, I'm going to take 1 month to rest. I need to sleep. Let's be very realistic. But after that rest, we'll start. And that's when it kick-started. Thankfully, a publication in Bahrain wrote about us and gained 400 followers in a day, in a single day from a single news article, which we were flooded with DMs from people, men, women, mothers, everyone, young kids, college kids who wanted to take part in whatever way, whether that be helping deliver, whether that be donating, whether it be helping with the social media. And so I'm just glad that it's kickstarted. I'm glad that we've been able to, oh, your dog. I'm glad that we've been able to help moms, and I hope that I get to do more. I still always feel bad. I still always criticize myself because I still do need to make a living in Dubai and I'm not in Bahrain. And I feel like if I was fully in Bahrain, I could do so much more on a daily basis. But sometimes I have to, leave it in the care of others, and that's fine. I'm really grateful for some people in Bahrain that are helping me out with it. But you want to do more. You want to do so much more. And I will do so much more. But that's my life's work, I feel like, is Hope Amal Bahrain. And I'm grateful for Abby for doing that. She started Hope Amal UAE. Amal because it was her mom's name who passed away. And she's been able to help in the UAE alone, thousands of moms, thousands of children. And I hope to be able to attain the level at which she's been able to attain. But if not, I'm still content with where it's at, which is just a space where moms could come at least. At least they know it's there. At least they know they can talk. I'm the one replying to the DMs half the time. And that's all. That makes me feel good. That makes me feel like the life purpose then was just to help my mom. And now I've been able to extend that to other moms. So it's an endless loop of gratitude to all mothers. Yeah.
Last time when I asked you, what would you like your legacy to be? You said, I'll be happy if even one person feels like I made them feel less alone.
Oh, wow. I didn't even remember that. You're going to make me cry.
And I think you've crushed
wreck.
that already in less than 4 years. I'm sure there's so many single mothers out there. You've made them feel less alone and you continue going to do that. So you've already crushed it. As we wind down to the final question, it's time.
In tears as I sip this matcha.
Yeah.
Shalaj using this as the thumbnail.
Every guest cries on the show. What do you mean? That's my ultimate. You talk about the purpose of the podcast. That's it. No. So.
Make them cry.
But I do want to dedicate another verse from a poem as we wind down the final question. This is a poem called Phenomenal Woman by Maya Angelou.
Oh my God.
And it goes, love that poem. I walk into a room just as cool as you please, and to a man, the fellows stand or fall down on their knees. Then there's swarm around me, a hive of honeybees. I say, it's the fire in my eyes and the flash of my teeth, the swing in my waist and the joy in my feet. I'm a woman. Phenomenal woman. That's me. Shereen, it's been a pleasure to watch your journey from Sherry X Suicide, if you know, you know, to the emo goth phase, to Tokyo Hotel, to the budding Egyptologist, to...
Still that.
Yeah, Sonder Speech,
There's another
Blonde
one.
Thief, and now Miss Universe Queen. It's a badass journey. I'm sure I was going to say badass for a long time. Final question. What is the meaning of life? Shereen Ahmed.
Oh my God. Did you ask me this before?
I did.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. I wonder what I said then. I don't think it'd be much different from now. I actually don't remember. The meaning of life. I get asked this question a lot, and I'm always like, do I say something profound? But then I have to be honest. My answer, the meaning of life, is just to be. That's it. Whatever that means to you. It's as simple as that. It's be. whoever you are today, whoever you'll be tomorrow, worry about that later. Who are you today? What do you want to do today? What do you care about today? What are the steps you're taking to make sure that you feel fulfilled, that the people around you feel fulfilled? How are you supporting the people that support you back? How do you extend that to the rest of the world? I think now more than ever, humanity, I don't want to say is lacking, but really needs to be stronger. And that only starts with you taking those steps to understand how you can make a difference, even with a single action, whether it's just with your words. So the meaning of life is to be, but to do it with regards to others. It's to be with yourself and to be with others and to live on this planet with love and care and be the brothers and sisters to each other that we were always supposed to be. That's it.
To be or not to be has been a question that's plagued humanity for so many hundreds of years since Shakespeare put it out there. But you finally solved it for all of us. Just be. To be or not to be, just be. Shereen, I can get behind that meaning. That's the easiest meaning I've come across. If people wish to connect with you, find out more, they want to get involved, what's the best place to find you or connect with you?
I guess Instagram is the quickest one. I have people messaging me on LinkedIn. You may do that too if you wish. Just not dating messages.
That's for Instagram. That's not for LinkedIn.
That's for Instagram. That's if you see me on other apps. You won't. But Instagram DMs is the best place. Don't start it with a hi or a hey. I will not reply. Get to the point immediately and I'll respond. Wow, she's direct. I really wish, if anybody is watching this in Bahrain, please check out Hope Amal Bahrain on Instagram as well. DM us if you know somebody that you think would need the help. Reach out to us. If you want to help take part, reach out to us as well. And also if you live in the UAE, Hope Amal UAE is always in need of volunteers and for people to help donate, send in, they have their location, they have their Amazon wish list. Order a few things if you have a few dirhams to spare. And it really makes a big difference to single moms and families in need.
So many ways to find you and connect and so many ways to get involved and support your project. I hope it continues.
Inshallah.
Shereen, thank you so much once again for a second time. I really appreciate this conversation.
Thank you. And it's always a pleasure.